All right, Josh, is it Munzon or Munzon?
Well, in the Philippines, a lot of people like to say Moon Zone, but for me growing up, we pronounce our names Munzon. So, I guess that's how we pronounce it here in the States. And, a lot of people say Moon Zone, and I've gotten used to, people calling me, saying that. But the way I pronounce my name, I prefer people say Munzon.
Hello, online world. Hello, Ka-OTR. This is Off the Record with Migs Bustos. And for today's episode, we are on our hashtag Fast Facts episode. And we are, of course, with PBA draft applicants. You've watched a couple episodes already with Calvin Octana, Alvin Pasaol, Aljun Melesio, and the rest. But right now, we are joined by a high draft prospect. And of course, he's been around in Asia, in the ABL, in 3x3. And right now, joining Facts First is Joshua Munzon. What's up, Josh?
Hey, what's up, Migs? Thanks for having me on the show.
All right. So I know that before this interview, we started and I kind of briefed you and
Yeah,
we had a little briefing
yeah.
on what's it going to be like. So for our Fast Facts episode, Josh, thank you so much for joining us here on our podcast and YouTube Live. I just want to ask, how are you? How
I'm
are you there in LA? And how are we preparing for the draft?
I'm good, man. Thanks for asking. Hope everything's good with you over there. But I've just been getting ready every day, spending time with my family. Hitting the gym, staying in shape, getting shots up, and just staying ready. I'm taking advantage of this time I have. While being home here with my family. I think it's been good for me to spend time with them and be here with them while I can. And soon it'll be time for me to head back to the Philippines and get back to it and head into the PBA.
All right. So, Josh, for the ones who are just getting to know you, before we start our episode, I've covered your games in the ABL maybe around 2017, 2018, and you were, not, you know the term cooking, right? It's not cooking, but
Yeah,
it's really, it's very explosive, it's very deadly,
yeah.
But I just want to ask first your experience in the ABL. How long did you play in the ABL? For what teams, and how was it like playing and traveling in the ASEAN region?
I played 2 years in the ABL. My first year, I was with Saigon Heat, and they actually let me go in the middle of that season, and I got picked up the same week by Westport Malaysia Dragons. So I ended up playing 2 years in the ABL, and it was for me, I had never left the United States before going to play in the ABL, and the ABL is as you know all over Southeast Asia. So I got to travel and got to see many Southeast Asian countries I had never visited before, and I think just gaining that experience of being away from home and playing against pros, playing against a lot of strong guys. I mean, I was guarding the likes of like wasn't it Brownlee, Malcolm Brownlee, and like we mostly all imports. While I was in Malaysia, so having that experience of guarding imports and guarding the other teams best player, I think just prepared me to where I am now and gain that experience and put me in position to, hopefully be one of the, top picks in this upcoming draft.
All right. So yes, you mentioned it. Maybe as maybe most of analysts, couple of journalists also are predicting Josh to be in the top 10, a high prospect, of course, in the upcoming PBA draft. And of course, this is a very deep 97 applicants in the PBA draft that will be happening in March 2021. But right now, in this series of Facts First, we will ask our PBA draft applicants about themselves, about their lives in basketball on and off the court. But before that, please do right here, please do subscribe to Off the Record with Migs Bustos, youtube.com/Migs Bustos. And of course, please do subscribe, please do watch the videos, please do comment, and please do join the OTR community. All right, so right now we will start with our first question right here on Facts Facts. G, are you G already? G ka na ba, Josh?
Oh man, I wish I knew what that meant.
G is game. G is game.
Oh, my game. I'm game.
Game.
I'm game.
My bad. That's like a jargon that they made up. So I'm
Yeah,
just
good for me.
all right. So you're G. You're G.
Okay, yeah, I'm G. I'm G.
You're G. You're G. All
Yeah,
right. Here
yeah,
we
yeah.
go. Three, two, one. Wildest basketball game.
Wildest basketball game. I guess I guess I'd say most recently. I say in the 3x3 we had a game where the million peso game where I hit the million peso shot. I think that was one of my wildest games. I think just because I started the game missing shots and towards the end to be able to make that, a final shot for 1,000,000 pesos was, very thrilling. I'd say. I think it was, a very fun moment for me.
Mm. All right, so I've asked this to a couple of guys also, especially who played in the 3x3, especially Alvin Pasaol. How was the transition like from 5-on-5 to 3x3?
The transition from 5-on-5 to 3x3, it took a little bit of time just because you had to get, used to the game, the style of play. 3x3, they say is a 10-minute sprint, and that's what it feels like. 10 minutes of nonstop basketball. You score, they get the ball out the net, they play immediately, they score, you get the ball out, play immediately. And I think the pace of the game, how fast it's played, along with the physicality and just the skill. I think it takes time to put yourself in that position and be successful in 3x3. And luckily we had 2 years of that. And I think not only did it benefit me learning 3x3, but I also learned things from 3x3 I can bring back to 5-on-5. And hopefully I think we all benefited from playing 3x3, not only myself but also those other guys who chose that route also.
All right, so I can see your shirt, and
Oh, yeah.
you are right now in LA
Oh,
because I will ask you this: ultimate basketball idol.
I mean, it's easy for me growing up in LA. Obviously, that would be Kobe Bryant. I think I drew a lot of inspiration from him growing up, watching him as a kid, and the things that he did. Growing up, I think it was inspiring to watch. His story. The way he started from LA. And won those titles, and not only that, giving back to the community along the way. I think he just was a great example for all of us to live by.
All right, your biggest rival on court.
I mean, I wouldn't say, I wouldn't have like a rival, but during this my first year at 3-on-3, they tried to, have this rivalry between me and Alvin, and we wound up being teammates, and we're also teammates heading into the OQT this year in May. So I mean, I think that might have been my biggest rival, but it wasn't that much of a rival because we ended up becoming teammates, and now we're like really good friends. So I mean, I guess you could say that.
All right, your dream PBA team.
I think there's a lot of, there's obviously, the historical franchises that's been in the league for forever, but, I'd love to, play for Ginebra. I think, the style of play along with the guys I have on that team. I think that if I was on that team, the possibilities are endless. But, I think right now, I think I'd say Ginebra would be my PBA dream team.
All right, so right now I mentioned Josh that you're currently in LA as of this interview. What's it like being a Phil Am, heading into the Philippine basketball scene?
I mean, as when you get in the Philippines, it's nothing but love. I say. I think you receive love from everybody. Not too many. There's critics here and there, but for the most part, there's a lot of love in the Philippines when it comes to basketball. And the toughest part of playing in the Philippines, I think for me, is just being away from home. I've the last 4 years, I've probably spent like maybe a couple months at a time being at home. And being in the PBA is going to lengthen that even more. So I think the toughest thing is just being away from your family, and trying to still have that connection with those back home, and trying to keep in contact with your family. But I've managed to find a way to do that, and they visit me over the years. And I think that's just the biggest thing us Phil foreigners have to deal with, is being away from our families.
And yeah, to my next question, what's it like leaving your hometown?
I mean, it's like you dream. It's a dream, honestly, because I wake up every day and I get to play basketball. I mean, I think I'm lucky for that. I think I'm great. I'm grateful that right now that I'm able to do this and I don't have to work a regular job. You know what I mean? But it's I think I'm lucky to be in the position I am in. Although I do have to leave my home and leave my family behind. I think they're all wishing the best for me, and I'm. It's actually for me to grow up here and go play basketball in the Philippines. It's like it's a dream. It's a dream that I'm living the life that I'm living and getting to do what I love. So I'm forever grateful for it. And I say it's tough leaving leaving my hometown, but at the end of the day, it's worth it.
All right, so Josh, knock on wood. But I want to ask this question. Maybe you can tell us some stories of maybe the wildest
Man,
basketball-related injuries you've had.
man. Well, I say two. Two of the wildest injuries I had. I actually had busted my eye open headbutting. It happened twice. It happened like maybe a couple months after each other. So I headbutted somebody and cut open my eye right here. In the basketball court, it was terrible at the time. I had to get stitches, and then eventually playing again, I ended up cutting my eyebrow, getting having another cut, in my eyebrow, which you can kind of see right here. So I've had two cuts on my eye, one here and then one here, just playing
Right.
basketball. uh,
Josh, when was that? When was that? And did that
I
did that have
say
like a go
And
ahead?
I say it was back in one would be like my senior year of high school, and then my freshman year of college. Like it happened like really close together, and I was just like,
Wow.
I was like, wow, yeah. I was like, hey, I'm gonna have to just back up a little bit, I guess, when I'm playing defense because I'm headbutting people right now. But nah, I think it was just freak accidents. I mean, we play basketball every day, and you might bump into somebody or even headbutt somebody, and you won't cut open your face. So I mean, I think that I guess it just happened like that for me.
Right now, of course, we are talking about the PBA and talking about the PBA. Maybe when it comes to the competitor in you,
Yeah.
do you visualize maybe a couple of guys, or maybe have an idea with a couple of guys who you want to match up first in the pro?
Uh, I mean, I think it's tough to say that because I think every team has good guards. Every team has their own marquee guards. I mean, you can start. I mean, San Miguel has Chris Ross, Terrence Romeo, C.J. Perez, long list of guards. Merlaco has Chris Newsom. TNT has Bobby Ray Parks, Roger Porgoy. I mean, every team has their guards. I mean, Ginebra has Stanley Pringle. Scotty Thompson, LA Tenario. You can name every team and name good guards on every team. So I think every night I go out there is going to be a challenging night for me. And I think that's the best part is every night I get to go out there and challenge myself against those guys who's been in the league for, long time and have already made names for themselves. And, I get to come in and challenge myself every night and compete with those guys. I think that's going to be fun.
What would be your first PBA jersey number and why?
Oh man, I think that'd be an easy choice. 24. I've been rocking 24 all through ABL, and even playing in Thailand. And when I got to the Philippines, even the numbers were tricky in 3x3, but I got to wear eight. I think number 8 or 24. Either of the two. I think,
Kobe.
yeah, representing Kobe, man. That's where I draw my inspiration from. I go out there and I just lock in and try and get things done, and try and just give all I have out there and play with that mentality. So I think 8 or 24. Hopefully, 8 or 24. Those would be my numbers.
Follow up question, Joss, of course, paying homage to Kobe and you draw inspiration from him. What would be your Mamba mentality moment?
Right now, like in my career playing, I mean, I'd say hitting that $1 million shot. I mean, the $1 million. I wish $1 million, million peso,
Times
million,
50, man.
million peso shot. I think right now, just being able to, because if you watch that game, I struggled to hit shots. Like I said earlier in that game, and for me to, be able to lock in and knock down those two shots, and even that last shot when it matters most. I think that's having that Mamba mentality of never giving up, never doubting yourself, and believing in yourself, and knowing that you're confident in what you can do, and attacking your obstacles that's in front of you.
All right. So right now, speaking of million pesos, right? Speaking of these types of right, we
Yeah.
wish it were $1 million, but given that you'll be drafted and signed, of course, let's claim it. Where will you spend your first paycheck on?
My first paycheck. I think right now we'll see. I mean, I already have a place right now in the Philippines. I think it'll be right now taking care of my family. I think my daughter is a big priority in my life, making sure her well being is okay, and making sure she's taken care of. It's very important to me, and I think that's literally my inspiration to me is providing for her. So I think that's basically where I'll be spending my money. It'll be going to her. Hopefully, I'll get to basically save money, and take care of her.
All right, so we talked about that million peso shot and we talked about that Mamba mentality and killer instinct. Maybe this is a no brainer already, this question. But then, if you were to visualize and if it were up to your hands, if you were to take a winning shot, how would it go? I asked Alvin, I asked Troy Reich also
Yeah.
this question. Troy Reich actually, he kind of mentioned diagrammed actually a play for me. He would imagine back screens, getting
Yeah.
a shot up.
Yeah.
But can you give us a
Yeah.
visual on how would it go for you?
For me, if I had, taken a winning shot, it'd just be me at the top of the key, one on one. Maybe like, 10 seconds, shot clock winding down, ball in my hand, and as the clock winds down, maybe you get to like 6 or 7, I get a ball screen. I get a switch on the big come off and guard me, and then I give him a three. Any way I can get the shot off, I'll probably get it off. Step back, whatever way. I mean, I can get my shot off any way possible. So I feel like as long as I get the switch on that big, I'm gonna get the three off, and it's gonna be game time.
Yeah, I noticed a big, right. Is
I
that
mean,
something that you've been working? I mean, that's
I
like
mean,
the nature of the game, right? It's the
if
nature of the
they
game.
switch, if they're switching,
Yeah,
if they switch and I get the big on me, then good luck. I mean,
yeah.
yeah,
It's like a pick and roll action, maybe,
yeah,
right?
pick
The
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 roll
big
and then
switches.
come off the screen, the big switches. I mean, it's good luck if he's the big guarding me at that point. I think, but
Yeah.
I mean, you never know. That's the way I see it. That's the
Uh
way I.
huh. Great visual. All right. So right now, Josh, are there any coaches that you have in mind that maybe you're looking forward to play for?
I think there's a lot of good coaches in the league. A lot of coaches been in the league, for a long time, and I think there's a lot of successful coaches. I mean, obviously, SMB, Lear Austria, even TNT, Mark Dickel, Hinebra, Tim Cohen. I mean, I think every team has knowledgeable coaches and coaches that know what they're doing. That's the reason why they're coaching in the PBA. So I think that you'd be lucky to play for any one of the coaches. I think, and for me. Going up in the 3x3 scene, luckily we had Coach Eric Altamirano, who coached in the PBA. I think having him, being with him every day for the past 2 years and learning from him was a big, help for me, getting advice from him, because he's been around the game for a long time, and he's been in the PBA, and he's very successful, and he's, somebody who I definitely look up to, and have asked for advice a lot from. So I think for me right now, my biggest influence as far as coaching wise would be Eric Altamirano.
All right. Your most memorable teammate.
Most memorable teammate? I think Taylor Statham and Troy Reich is a tie between those two guys. And of course my guys Alvin and Alvin, yeah, Alvin and Santi, yeah. I mean, I think and Dylan Ababu. I don't know. A lot of the guys who I played with recently in 3x3, we just all became brothers. So I think my stint with Troy and Taylor was just as fun as my stint with Alvin, Santi, and Troy. So I mean, and you throw Dylan in there. I couldn't ask for better teammates, better guys to go into battle with.
All right. So speaking of teammates, my last question would be: is there ever a funny teammate or your funniest teammate ever?
My funniest teammate, I'll say probably Alvin. Alvin's pretty funny. He's a pretty funny guy. I think over the past 2 seasons, I think me, Alvin, and Troy and Santi, I think we just our whole group of guys together. I think we just get laugh and joke all the time off the court. And I think it was crazy. It was cool that when we got on the court, we switched it up and it was all business. But off the court, I think my team, our team in general, had a lot of fun together.
All right. So thank you, Josh, for joining us here on Off the Record, of course, on our Fast Facts episode. But lastly, Josh, give you this chance to give a shout out to anybody and, of course, your message to the fans.
I just want to shout out all the fans and thank you guys for supporting me all throughout the journey. It's been fun and I can't wait to put on the show for you guys in the PBA. And I just want to thank Migs for having me on the show and shout out On the Record, for having me here. And I'll be seeing you guys. Hopefully, you guys will be seeing me in the future in the PBA.
All right. All right. So there you have it. There you have it. Josh Munzon right here on Off the Record with Migs Bustos. I hope you enjoyed this. And of course, Josh, good luck in the upcoming
Appreciate it.
PBA draft. So once again, this has been Off the Record with Migs Bustos. See you guys the next episode.